Welcome to Blue Tinted Glasses, the home of Leicester City talk on YouTube. Fan debates, live watch-alongs, post-match reactions, and all the Foxes banter you could ask for. Subscribe now and see the game through Blue Tinted Glasses.
Well then, Mahrez has made something of that. It's Mahrez! 2-0 to Leicester City!
Next to it, Anthony Kanaka finds Wood should score! Wood finds Kanaka! Yes! Here comes Leicester again with Heskey and Ibbett! Oh, this is incredible! Got Jamie Vardy with him. Jamie Vardy sets off. Jamie Vardy!
Blue Tinted Glasses, the home of Leicester City talk on YouTube.
Good evening and welcome back to Blue Tinted Glasses for something slightly different today. May as well continue with the content, and this time we are reacting to some of the talking points from Martí Cifuentes' press conference today in preparation for the game on the weekend, tomorrow against Birmingham City, which is going to be a tough game, an interesting game. The toughest game of the season so far, you'd expect on paper. But of course, we have struggled in one or two of them games. Get your comments in, by the way, everybody. Make sure, because we are going to be talking about transfers as well, because it comes up in the press conference, of course. Tony says Vardy left the club 102 days ago. There are 96 hours before the window closes, and we have brought no one in. Is this the Josh Murphy analysis show? It is not, I'm afraid. Sorry. Good evening, everybody. Good evening to you, mate. Hi, Slim Chin. Cheers, Mr. Vod. Not quite, mate, but get in there. Hello to Azola, mate. Hope you're doing well. Foss Hub as well. What's going on? We might be joined as well very soon by Steve. We'll have to wait and see. What have I just read here, by the way? Patrick Bamford. Leeds United can confirm that a mutual agreement has been reached with Patrick Bamford, which will see him leave the club. I'm just going to put a tweet out here. Wouldn't surprise me. Would it surprise any of you if Patrick Bamford rocked up at the King Power? It wouldn't surprise me at all. Not at all. Anyway, let's get into the talking points, as we said. And this is all about Martí Cifuentes' press conference. Evening, bad news, Patrick. Yeah, I know. The Silla link died, it seems. We'll have to see. He must have said something ominous to get a presser reaction. You can be the judge of that, because we're going to talk about it. Everything's going to be over here, so just keep your eye over there. And we'll get into the first talking point today, which is this man. So all of these graphics are a credit to BBC Sport Leicester, of course. Martí Cifuentes started the press conference by confirming that he has no fresh injury concerns ahead of the game tomorrow. Steffi Mavididi has trained well and looks ready to play. So get your thoughts in on this. Obviously, Steffi Mavididi missed the last game. Jeremy Monga started as the left winger. A muscle injury, we were told. Look, it's only a positive that he's back. Of course it is. My question, though, to you all would be, is he going to start the game? I think Jeremy Monga deserves to get another start. I know some people might say, well, he's too young. You need to manage his game time, and I get that. Manage his game time by bringing him off at 60. That's what I would say. I think he deserves another start, Monga, but Mavididi is now fit, right? So we've got Steve, who's joined us just in time. So let's get him in. What's going on, mate?
Yeah, not too bad. Yourself?
All good, mate. All good. Let's get straight into it, mate. I just brought this up on screen, so we'll start with this one. Steffi Mavididi is looking available to play again. He obviously missed the last game because of a muscle injury. Now he's back, mate. What are your thoughts on this? Because Monga started the last one. Some people think, we should manage his minutes, which I understand and I agree with. But do you think Mavididi comes straight back in? Or do you think Monga starts again? Or do they both start?
So I don't think they both start because if you drop, well, that's a good point actually. Is Louis Page?
Yeah.
He didn't play great last week, did he? So if you drop him out, who'd you bring in? But then I guess in that point you drop you back into Cam and Daka up front, which sounds disgusting to say out loud, and I don't like that. In regards to Mavididi, I think he comes straight back in because Monga was a little bit ineffective last week, and at his age, if you're a fullback and you've got Mavididi running you for 60 minutes, then you bring Jeremy Monga on, you're going to be knackered. So I do it that way because Monga so far 30-minute bursts are pretty good, and then slowly eke that out over the season to make it slightly longer and slightly longer because he's still only 16. And unfortunately for him, you don't want him to pick up an injury as he's still growing. So I would bring Steffi back in. I wouldn't play Monga as a 10 because I think that's too much pressure. We've seen on Louis Page it didn't work. So maybe a shift in midfield to bring somebody else further up. I don't know who that would be. But yeah, in my opinion, you bring Steffi on and you bring Monga on off the bench.
I don't know, by the way, just to sidetrack slightly, I don't know if you've just seen the news, but Leeds United have parted company with Patrick Bamford. So Patrick Bamford is now a free agent, Steve. And I was just saying to the chat that he's going to end up at Leicester, isn't he?
He probably will. That's the annoying thing. He probably will. And I don't want it. I don't want old men. Over the age of 29 is the limit for me. And even then, it's pushing it a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I guess what happens next, it's going to be... I don't know. I've just got this feeling if we can't get any deal over the line for a Silla or a Ivanovic, which I don't think will happen anyway at Millwall, you could just see a little cheeky contract offer going in on deadline day for Patrick Bamford. I mean, I don't even know what to say about it. It's kind of like if you were there on deadline day at 5 o'clock in the evening, mate, and you've not got a striker in, would you just take Bamford for the numbers? I don't know.
No, because we've already got one immobile centre forward in Jordan Ayew. We don't need a second one on sort of 40, 50 grand a week. I think there are plenty of players that are free agents still that could probably do a better job, realistically. But I still think we'll bring a striker in on loan more than anything. I think that's the option they'll go for. But if it gets to 5 o'clock and we still haven't signed a striker and Bamford comes through the door, I mean, fine, you have to support it. He's going to be a Leicester player if that is the case. And great, but I don't want it. And I don't think there'll be many Leicester fans that want it either, especially after the last couple of seasons of Bamford in the Championship. He's not exactly ripped up any trees.
Yeah, I'm not advocating for Patrick Bamford. I'm just saying that if it gets to a couple hours before the window and we're all hope is on the floor, we're not bringing anyone in, and then Patrick Bamford rocks. I'd be angry at the lack of good striker coming in. I wouldn't be angry at Patrick Bamford coming in, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, right. Let's move on to the next bit of chat that took place in the press conference today. And he was asked about Abdul Fatawu, who scored the winner against Charlton. So Marty said, not only the goal, but the dance too. I want to see it more, so I want him to stay. You see with his smile, he makes everyone smile too. He's a very important player. Obviously, Marty saying the obvious there that he wants him to stay. He's had a bit of interest this window. We've seen Everton looking at him, Sunderland looking at him. There was a very small rumour from Indy Callier, who is, you just don't know these days whether to trust or not trust, but they've also said Abdul Fatawu's on Liverpool's shortlist. Maybe they're waiting, who knows. But for now, Steve, it looks like he's going to stay, and I think he is the best player in the Championship, me personally.
I agree. The reason I think he's going to stay is that the injury that he had last season, for me, it might sort of make him feel like, well, I owe Leicester a year. You go out for a full season and you think, okay, well, he comes back, give Leicester a year because we paid his wages still when he was injured, and then he goes next summer with all of our well wishes. And then also, I guess if he goes next summer, that's a significant amount of money that we can bring in. Would I be annoyed if he ended up moving to Liverpool? Probably not. I think if a big top 6 club came in for him, I think you'd say, okay, fair enough. This is where you should be playing anyway. But if it was a Leeds or a Sunderland or a lower Premier League club, I'd be a bit annoyed because you're taking the step up to a team that is basically going to finish mid-table or relegation battle. So I actually don't think he goes. I think he stays here until at least January, and then we'll see how we are come then. But yeah, we all want to see Abdul scoring more goals. I don't think I've celebrated a goal like his hat-trick goal against Southampton a couple of years ago, like for a very long time. So yeah, I'd rather he stayed, and hopefully Marty can convince him to stay for another season at least.
And he's the epitome of when you're smiling,
Yeah.
I mean, as we say, he's always smiling. He's about the only one that does fucking smile in this squad. It's just positivity. I mean, you saw what happened last week, when he tried to. Still, I'll stand by. I think he was just trying to kind of galvanize the fan base, and some took issue with it, which I understand in a certain way. But I think he's just one of the only ones that really puts in everything, every single game, mate.
Well, yeah, exactly. And these are sort of players you want to see when you go to football. You don't want to. If we sell him, what positives have we got other than Monga for the rest of the season? The backups are Di Cordova-Reid and Wanya Marcel, and whilst they might be decent backups, they're not good enough to start, in my opinion. So yeah, you want a player that's going to bring a smile to your face, and we've all missed it, haven't we? That big grin that he has. I'll be honest with you. Other than my wife, he's next in line. He makes me happier than most people in the world.
Yeah, threesome on threesome.
No, I didn't say threesome.
You're not sharing him. You're not sharing. You want him for yourself. I was going to say as well. Liverpool won't be coming in for. I mean, if to anybody who's been keeping tracks today, Isak, they're gonna spend 120 million on Isak. This in the next few days because Newcastle have just agreed a fee of 70 million quid for a German striker. I can't remember his name. I'd never heard of him. Which is unusual when you've got a player going for 70 million. You'd have thought you'd have heard of him, but I'd never heard of the guy. So, but yeah, so that's gonna happen. So yeah, I agree. I think Abdul's gonna stay. I think he's gonna be the best player in the league, and he's like you said. You mentioned January. That's a worry. I think it depends on where we're at. Like if we are still in it for promotion, I think he would stay for another until the end of the season. But if we're 8th and there's a top 6 club coming in for him, I think he'll probably go. Yeah, I don't know. I've just got a feeling that would be the case. Michael says between Monga, Bilal, touchy subject, and Fatawu, they are the future best talent in the championship. Young talent. Talking of Bilal, yeah, nice one. Yeah,
you got a free Bilal.
Yeah, I was going to say, can you hear Bilal? I can hear him. It's more of a mouse. Let me see what some people in the chat are saying. Samare in the 10. Look, I don't hate the idea. of Samare in the 10, just because I don't trust him deep, right? So just get him high and let him do his thing, and I don't know. I'd like to see it once, but yeah, I don't think it will happen. Michael said, Bilal acting like a fool, saying I'm going to sit the season in the stands. Do it. Your value will plummet more so than your form doing that. These kids, man. Yeah, I don't think he's actually going to do that with the World Cup in 10 months and AFCON in a few months. But to all those yesterday who saying it was all fake news that you even wanted to leave, I mean, the Morocco boss confirmed it today, basically. The Morocco boss in an interview said he wants to leave Leicester. So there you go. Talking of Bilal, let's move on to the next bit of the press conference. So, with speculation around the future of his players, Cifuentes was asked if he finds his job frustrating during the transfer window. He said, no, I wouldn't say frustrating. It's probably not the easiest, but that's not important. What's important is that we get the results. I'm aware of the challenges we might have in this period. In this way, we're not exceptional. I just want to focus on what I can control, and we have direct and daily communications with the club. And then he went on to say, Steve, that Bilal El Khannouss is available tomorrow. Now, I find this one interesting. So everybody in the chat, let us know what you think to this. there's two ways here, right? So either he could he's just being honest and like Bilal will play tomorrow, right? That's one scenario. The other though, which I'm swaying more towards now, mate, is I've just got this feeling that Marty said this to show that if Bilal doesn't play tomorrow, that's on him. This is where my head's at the minute. I feel like Marty's basically said, from my point of view, he's available. Like, I want him to play. So if he doesn't play, that's him. Because all week, there's been people saying, no, the only reason he didn't play was because Marty, pulled him out because of the speculation. And that is what Marty said. So fair enough. I know why people think that. But I said yesterday on the stream, Steve, I said, Rodgers said this about Fofana. Rodgers said about Fofana that, I've dropped him because his head's not right at the moment. And then it came out 3 days later that he'd been on strike. So I think this is a bit of a play by Marty to say, I want him to play. If he doesn't play, it's on him. So what are your thoughts, mate?
Yeah, I'm leaning that way too. It makes sense that he'll come out and cover his own back, whether or not it's to the board or to the fans, because he doesn't want criticism for leaving out one of our better players if we lose. And if we win, then it's who cares? We've won the game. I feel the Bilal situation is that, so I'm a bit frustrated with the whole situation itself, because we all knew when he came to us that he was like this. And we were all lauding it last season, saying, wow, he wants to come to us so badly. It's fantastic. And now the flip's happened and we're getting annoyed at him. Look, footballers are mercenaries at this point. They've got to earn as much money as they can, and their career could end tomorrow. And, I get wanting to leave if you've been relegated. If your head's not in the right place, fine. But my main concern is if it gets to Monday night and he's not gone, he needs to get his head down and play football and just show that he's worth a transfer to these teams that came in for him. Show Crystal Palace that they made the wrong choice picking somebody else over him. But I agree. Marty, I back the manager entirely. If he leaves him out because he's not in the right headspace, great, leave him out. I don't care. Leave any player out that isn't in the right headspace. We've seen with Winks and Fast that they haven't started games because they're probably not in the right place themselves, but they've come on and made a difference. So he might even be on the bench tomorrow, and we might get a Ranger situation where he refuses to come on in the second half, which will be even funnier. But yeah, I don't know. I get it, and I agree. Marty do what is best for you and the team, and not over players.
It's interesting you say about we knew this is what he was like 'cause he did it at his last club. That was the same with Fofana as well. Wesley Fofana, through a hissy fit that, I think Claude Puel it was at St. Etienne at the time was kind of, blocking the move in a way and asking for a lot, more money and stuff. And I think he went on strike there and we were like, yeah, go on, mate. Yeah, go and join Leicester. And then obviously we know what happened a couple of years after with us and Chelsea. And it's the same now with Bilal. If a player does it once, they'll probably do it again, Yeah,
and again, and it'll happen to the next club. If Barcelona come in for him, which is a very high ceiling, I don't know if that'll be the case, but he'll do the same thing,
Yes.
These people, like Michael said, they are a bit entitled, but I sort of understand it as well because it's a career that doesn't last for very long.
Yeah. Caleb says is available, but will he be in the squad? That's the real question. That's what I'm saying, Caleb. For me, if he's not in the squad, that just says everything you need to. I think that means that he's saying he doesn't want to play, in my opinion, because Marty said he's available. Why would Marty say he's available if he wasn't available? He wouldn't say it. So I think that's the play from Marty there. Fox Fanatics agrees. Tony says Bilal will be sitting next to me tomorrow. Virtual Aviator says, how will we get results when we're letting players go and not bringing any in? Yeah, well, it's a good question, mate. I mean, we've got 5 days of the window left, so who knows what's going to happen. We're going to talk in a second about what Marty said about incoming transfers. Can't we keep him forever, says Clemo? Yeah, I know, that would be great, but unfortunately not. Bilal will be a sub, said Buzz. Yeah, I could see him on the bench. But he kissed the badge. Yeah, he did kiss the badge once upon a time. That's right. Players, entitled pricks, especially against Birmingham. Oh, sorry, play, entitled pricks, especially against Birmingham. Lots of eyes will be on it. Show your worth. That's true as well, man. Like, you should think of it. That's what, because this is what we say about, this is what we say about players. It's like, Bilal, if you think you're that good, mate, play, put it in a blinder, and you might get a Spurs or, a Newcastle, whatever, whoever it is coming in for you. But, you're going to win. We don't know this yet, but instead he could just whinge and cry and say, no, I ain't playing. It's frustrating. If you are as good as you say you are, then prove it. Buzz says it's like someone who cheats. Once a cheater, always a cheater. Once a rat, always a rat. So if we choose to agree a price and then the next day raise it again, why would Bilal El Khannouss not be upset with the club? Because as far as I'm aware, mate, what happened, and I'm just reading in between the lines, right, with some of the unreliable information, I'm pretty sure that we set a price to one club and then Saudi got involved. And we said, well, no, we're not going to accept this loan with option to buy or whatever it was when Saudi are offering money. Like, what? That's just, you know what I mean? It makes no sense. You wouldn't sell for a lower price when there's now a new bidder on the table a day later. So, and then I'm guessing he doesn't want to go to Saudi. I'm guessing that's what the problem is. Again, this isn't confirmed. It's all rumours that this is what's happened. But that would be my response to you, Daedalus, that, we've said a price and then somebody's bid more. So we've said, well, we're not accepting the first price. Anyway, that would be my interpretation of it. What do you make to this one, mate? Steve, with Samari and Skip not performing and Winks acting like a child, I'd love to see Braybrook given a chance. Sammy Braybrook, what do you reckon to that?
Well, the issue with Braybrook is that he didn't feature very much at Dundee last season, and he's not featured a lot for Leicester. Has he played much football in the under-21s? I'm not entirely sure. But to make the step up to replace somebody like Samari and Skip, who, look, let's not get this wrong, they've been poor, but Samari can put in a performance when he wants to. We haven't seen the best from Skip yet, and that might come at some point this season. But I don't think chucking Braybrook into that midfield is going to be the answer. When I actually think Harry Winks starts tomorrow, because as much as I think he leaves or potentially leaves come the end of the window, when he plays, he still puts the effort in. He still actually plays for the team. So I think you'd probably see Samari and Winks tomorrow and Skip on the bench. But yeah, I just don't think Braybrook is anywhere near the first team level. He's at 23 now, isn't he? So at some point he's got to, piss or get off the pot, I guess.
I'd let him go. Yeah, I'd let him go. I mean, we saw him in pre-season. I just thought he looked, I won't say shit because that's harsh, but he just looked average, like just bang average, and the others were better. So yeah, I just think it's one of these things. Same with Alves in a way that the ACL, man, these were very highly promising players. They've both had ACLs. It's kind of halted their development, and it's a shame. I'm still hopeful in a way for Alves, but from what I've seen of him so far this season in the little snippets, I'm not. He's not really done anything really to, I think, warrant more game time so far. So, although if Bilal goes and we don't sign a number 10, then I think Alves is going to play quite a bit of football, sharing it with Page and Ayew. Skip is better than Braybrook, said Fox Fanatic. I mean, I would agree because one, I know Skip's been crap, but, one's played in the Champions League, for God's sake. The other couldn't play for Dundee. I don't care what you think about Skip. Like there is, it's just common sense. Fox Fanatics agrees. Winks better start tomorrow. Yeah, I mean, when he's come on, he's improved us, hasn't he? So I'd be very surprised if he doesn't play. If we see Samari and Skip in that lineup, that starting lineup, Steve, my head might just blow.
Yeah, well, Kate made a very good point on the various podcasts she's been on, and that Leicester's midfield is a bit like a polo. Like we've got quality around the place, but the central part of the team is lacking severely. And yeah, if it is Samari and Skip, especially with a team like Birmingham who press pretty high and pretty energetic, those two aren't energetic in any way. And at this point, look, we just need to send Skip to Turkey, get him his bold spot, get it covered up, and that might reinvigorate him. He might then come back and play a bit more like Ballack.
Yeah. Or some spray on or something. Can you not get some spray on?
I'm sure they've got like they put the lines on the pitch. Just get him to lay down next to the line and just roll over his head a little bit. It'll be fine.
He's blonde, isn't he? He's blonde.
Yeah.
Or one of them stick-on wigs. You can get stick-ons now as well, can't you?
You can. Or just shave it off, mate. You're in your. I'm 35. Like mine's going. At some point, it's going to go entirely, and I'll just get rid of it. he's got such an island in the top of his head that you can tell from any part of the pitch where he is. Just get rid of it. It's easier.
He's about 6 months away from what's his name? Who's the prince? I can't think of his name now for some reason.
Oh, Prince Harry.
Prince William. Prince William.
Yeah,
because I can't believe he ain't shaved it yet. It's shocking. That's absolutely shocking. That's not an eye. That's the United Kingdom he's got on his fucking head. It's just. You're saying he's got the monk haircut. Buzz
the reverse monk. That's the problem.
Yeah, he has. Skip needs to become that bald guy from Game of Thrones. No balls, but new and improved, and also a bit fruity. Fruity. He could be Zidane. He could just shave it off and be Oliver Zidane. If Sen skips Turkey, but not for the transplant, stick an afro on him and send him to Besiktas and call him Wout Fass. Yeah. Can you imagine Wilfred and Didi if Buddy Wout Fass and Oliver Skip are in the same lineup as him? Oh my!
He might jump in the sea.
PTSD. Skip has nothing to his game when we spend most of the time discussing his hairline. Yeah, I was going to also bring this up, actually. Let me bring this photo up that Anil sent earlier. So if anybody missed it, Nampalys Mendy has signed for Watford, free agent. He's signed for them on a free deal. I don't know about you, Steve. I think he improves Leicester's midfield, which is mad. I mean, let's just look at some of the data from last season or over the last 1 year. You can see there. I mean, yeah, Nampalys Mendy did outperform Oliver Skip in nearly every department. So yeah, it's a little bit concerning that we've just been relegated from the Premier League and Watford have signed a player who would improve our midfield, and we're just sat around twiddling our thumbs with our other thumb up our arse, basically. Send Skip to Wrexham. They're our dump site. Yeah, absolutely. Right, let's move on to another bit of Bilal stuff. On PSR, sorry. So he was asked about PSR and whether the recent sales of Casey McAteer and James Justin were needed for the club to keep in line with the rules. He said, I think it's a clear plan in terms of what we need to do. At the same time, we can't control the market. What's important is that we have a valuation for the players. The target is to make sure we're in a good place at the end of the window, which I'm sure we will be. So I suppose Stevie's just saying the obvious, because he's obviously said throughout his time here so far that he likes a smaller squad. Mm-hmm. He's got his wish on that front. And according to Rob Dorsett, the club have now satisfied PSR as well with those sales. So Marty must be fairly happy with the business outgoings that have happened so far.
So, yes. So I was listening to what you were talking about earlier on in regards to... Well, it was the show you did earlier, basically. And you made a very good... Yeah, the preview. You made a very good point in the sense that, yes, we've trimmed the squad, but it doesn't feel like we've trimmed the squad because we've still got a load of shit players there that aren't doing a very good, act of playing as professional footballers. In regards to PSR, look, we all knew it was going to happen this season. We had to sell to satisfy it, and clearly the club are having a conversation with the EFL in regards to how we're complying and showing a willing that we are selling players and lowering the wages, which will hopefully work in our favour. If we don't, it will come the points deduction potentially. Look, I think Marty is a bit unfortunate. He might have already known that we didn't have any money to spend and we had to sell a load of players before we could do anything. And if we're at that point now, if we can move on Wout Fass and Christensen and then he can then actually spend the money, then great. But we don't know where the line is, do we? We might satisfy it, but we could be £1 million over it, and then that's fine. We still haven't got a shirt sponsor, which would help towards PSR as well. So, yeah, it's unfortunate to be in the situation for a new manager who clearly wants to bring his own players in and refresh the squad, which is what we're all crying out for. And I guess he's doing that a little bit in the sense of bringing the younger players through the academy, which is great. We all want to see it, but you can't really rely on 16, 17-year-olds for the entirety of the season, can you? It's worrying if that is the case. But look, if he's satisfied with the squad that he's got, then we have to back him and hope that come January we've got money to spend and we can go out and spend 20 odd £1 million on a couple of players to improve the squad.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, there's a comment here which says I did have this opinion as well for quite some time, but I still think the plan on pocketing the money and not buying players until next season on the basis that we get promoted. There is a possibility because you see Sunderland, they've got promoted this summer and they've spent 150 million quid.
Yeah.
And you would want Leicester to be in that situation next time we go up. Next time we get promoted. You want Leicester to be in a position where they can spend a lot of money. Although, do you trust this club to spend the money wisely? Probably not. I don't know. And it's a dangerous game to play, says Fox Fanatics. Of course it is. Because, you could, spending £15 million now could be the difference between promotion this season and no promotion. And if you don't get promoted, if you don't spend it and you don't go up this season, you start to lose parachute money. You start to lose more players, more quality from the squad, sponsorship money, so prize money from the Premier League as well. So I don't know, mate. I think I don't know. I would say that I have sympathy with the club as to what strategy they must. They must be bashing their heads together, thinking they've probably decided now, but they must have been bashing their heads together, saying, what should we do this summer? Because it is a hard decision to make.
Well, it is. And so a couple of points. So in regards to parachute payments, we're in that second phase of parachute payments now. It doesn't reset to the first phase again. So we're down to, originally it's 55% of what you'd earn in the Premier League. Now it's 45%. So there's an added extra 10% loss. Next season, it goes to 20%. So we could see fire sales next season if we don't go up.
Yep.
My opinion is that we'll maybe sign a couple of loan players towards the end of the window. And then in January, if it looks like we're struggling and the finances are okay, maybe we push out and spend a bit more. The good thing is that come the end of this season and this season's accounts, the last £90 million loss that we made falls off the books.
Yeah.
So we made a £17 million loss last year. And I can't remember what it was the year before that. The year before it was £17 million. We don't know what it was for last season as of yet. So
a lot. It'll probably be a lot.
Probably, but you like to think that we'll be in a better financial situation with PSR. If we're under if we get promoted, we'll be well under that budget. If we're not, then £85 million could be touch or go. But Ric Flair made a very good point about selling the players at the club. We're thanking or giving praise to John Rudkin for doing his job, but it's like thanking somebody who gives you the toilet paper after you've eaten dodgy food and they've given you diarrhea. We're thanking John Rudkin for doing his job. That's what he should be doing all along. And that's the frustrating thing here is that, yes, the club are hitting the head against the wall, but they got themselves into this situation. They backed Steve Cooper last season with Oliver Skipp and Jordan Ayew and D. Cordova-Reid and all these players that aren't worth the contract that they're on. And then you look at giving Yannick Vestergaard a 3-year deal as a passing gift from Enzo Maresca. That's ridiculous. And I understand you can't pull out of a handshake deal because it looks bad for future players if you've agreed a deal and then they don't offer it to them in the end. But I have a little hope that they've finally realized what they've done and they're trying to turn it around. It's very small. You know what I mean? You want to give them a slight benefit of the doubt, but we all know that they'll take that and they'll smash it back in your face. And next year we won't get promoted this season. And then we're in the Championship next year. And then if we don't go up that year, we've got no parachute payments. And then we're stuck like Blackburn and whoever else has gone up and not managed to come back, gone back down and gone back up again. It's worrying. It is worrying.
Yeah, it is. It is worrying. I agree that what you said as well about what Rick said. I think he used the word gaslight as well, but it's the good of this window with regards to getting rid of the rats and the ones that don't want to be here and the high earners. I think they kind of expect people to forget, that these rats and high earners are here because you brought them here, mate. You know what I mean? And you're only undoing the wrong that you did. You've not actually done anything, worth shouting about yet. You've not brought in. So yeah, I don't know. It's frustrating. And people will keep saying there's 4 days left. There's still time. I don't know. I just can't see it happening, mate. I mean, well, let's touch it now because we'll move on to this one. So Marty said about new players. We have daily communication about what we need to reinforce. We also have players coming from inside the club. I'm always on that. I'm always one that will try to solve the problem, not only from the academy, but also from the players from the club that can play other roles. After that, then we may look into the market to find players to help us improve. If they can't do that, then there isn't any point. So there is another bit which isn't on this graphic, which Marty did say something, said something which kind of contradicts this, but I'll mention that in a second. But starting with this bit, when I read this, Steve, I was like, well, that's it. We're not bringing anyone in, because this is textbook manager talk. Who knows they're not bringing anyone in to start talking about the players that are already in the academy and in the squad. Easing fan expectations, basically. And I'd love to know who the striker in the academy or the squad who might be able to play a different role is, because I don't think there's anyone who's good enough to be our starting striker at the moment. I know Jordan Ayew he brings something to the team, but he's not a goal scorer. He's not that goal scorer that we need up front at the moment. And I don't know, mate. I worry that this is just Marty easing expectations and basically saying to the fans, you're probably not going to get anybody.
Yeah, well, you posted it in the community chat, and my instant reaction was to agree straight away that we weren't signing anybody. If the manager comes out and says, well, we'll look into the youth academy and who we've got at the club, that is clear as day that nobody's going to come through the door, because if they don't improve the squad, which I find that hard to believe, quite a lot of players that are available would improve the squad, they're not going to do anything. And that is frustrating, but maybe he knows that he's not going to sign anybody, and he's just trying to let the fans down a little bit. I guess the striker that people are shouting out for, and I don't agree with this, is Silko Thomas. I don't think he's good enough as of yet. I don't think he probably will be good enough as of yet. And then that leaves us with, Jordan Ayew, who likes to fall over, but likes to drop deep so there's nobody in the box, and Patson Daka, who, let's be honest, couldn't organise a piss up in a brewery sort of situation. So, I'm under the impression that I'd like to bring a couple of players in on loan, but I can't see it. I can't see it. Unless it's another goalkeeper, because they seem to have a hard-on for goalkeepers. Yeah.
That is bizarre, isn't it? That we were linked with that goalkeeper yesterday. So, on the contrary to this, another thing that was said in the press conference, which I actually missed, is this. So he did say the fans can be calm about transfers, despite it being just a few days left. I'm sure they will see the work behind the scenes at the end of this window. So that sounds slightly more positive, Steve. That sounds like, okay, maybe Marty's hinting at something here. Or is he just talking about the outgoings? I don't know.
He's hinting at a 3-year deal for Jordan Ayew. That's what that is. They're working hard behind the scenes.
Shut up. Shut up.
Yeah, I like to, like I say, I would like to think that they're bringing players in. I just can't see it. The market, because there are loads of Premier League clubs that will allow younger lads to come out on loan. Like one, for example, who I think would be an outstanding choice in our midfield and has a link to the club via his dad, is Jaden Heskey. He's a centre midfielder that could do a job for us. He's quite a hard tackling, energetic midfielder, and he's built like a like Heskey, basically.
Brick shit house,
yeah. I didn't want to say it in case, pre-watershed,
No, you say what you want on there, mate. Say what you want on there.
But yeah, I would like to think there is something going on in the background, but this is it. We don't know. I feel like if we get battered tomorrow, which it could happen. We could win. We could get battered. Depending on the result, we might see more movement over the weekend.
Birmingham, Damari Gray, score a hat-trick.
Will, you said it earlier.
For the greater good, dunk on us. So if that was a guarantee that if we lose, we sign some players, and please. But no, I don't know. I mean, let's see what some people are saying here. So, Frankie says fully expect us to get a couple of loans in. Because we were also linked with Emi Buendia yesterday, I saw.
That was a strange link.
Surprise.
Yeah,
who pedigree in the Championship's brilliant, of course. In the Championship, he is slightly older now, and I think his wages might cost a bit. But if it's a loan and you only cover part of it. You know what it's like. You know, it gets technical, but yeah, who knows? I mean, I would take Emi Buendia in the Championship for a season on loan. That is for sure. Buzz says Marty clearly wants the right players instead of any player. Time is running out. Yeah, of course, but like they've. I mean, Marty's been here for is it 6 weeks now?
Yeah, 6-7 weeks.
The recruitment team know the brand of football. They know what type of players that Marty needs in his team, and this would have all been discussed. And you would have thought that they have been working on these deals, or sorry,
I know that
scouting.
they were. Yeah, they were. I know that they were scouting players that were better in the press. You know, I had a little bit of information there that they were looking at players that can press for 90 minutes plus.
So Begovic and.
Oh, he's great up front, I've heard. You know, can't be worse than are you standing there.
Yeah, that's what Marty's talking about when he says, look at the players from the club who can play other roles. He's on about Begovic playing up front, I think. That's what he's talking about. Season-long loan, if injured, send him back. About Buendia. Apparently Buendia's been linked to Leeds. You're getting Buonanotte, mate. I've just read. Buonanotte to Leeds. Buonanotte and JJ on the right for Leeds. I wonder how that's going to go. Fucking hell, Jesus. I still can't believe this though, mate. It's like Leeds saw how bad Leicester were last year, and they want Bilal, they want Facundo, and they've got JJ, and it's like, wow. Are you sure that's the right path to go down? Yeah,
it's a bit like, you've seen a girl, and she's asked everybody else out, and she's no issues with sleeping around or anything like that, and the Leeds have gone, you know what, we can change her, we can bring her back, make her wholesome again. It's just not gonna happen, is it? He's gonna be terrible, and then they'll hate him. And he's on a long contract now with a high wage. So well done, Leeds. You've done us a favour there, to be honest.
Yeah. Brendan Aronson can run around and press all game. And I was going to say, would I take? I mean, I probably would take Brendan Aronson at this point. I just want to fucking.
This is how bad it's got. Look, this is how bad it's got. We're looking at Bamford and going, I mean, we'll have a look. It's awful.
Yeah. I'd take him on deadline day at the last hour. Absolutely. King Leicester says this is a crucial time for Marty and the club. If they don't bring in at least 2 players, it will get very toxic. This is a thing though as well, which I always say, Steve, is about the club may well have a plan that this is going to take 2-3 windows for us to clear the shit out and bring players in. But that doesn't really work because we see it with Ruben Amorim at Man United, right? And it's like any manager, to be honest, at Man United. It's like before you can do that, before you can get to the end of your plan and see it through, the players turn, the fans turn, and the manager gets sacked. Yep. This is how football is. So these long-term plans don't really work. It's like Enzo Maresca. It's like Enzo Maresca, luckily, he's done really well at Chelsea so far, but if it was taking a bit more time and he wanted to build something, he wouldn't have had the chance at Chelsea because Chelsea would have just pulled the trigger. So I just worry that if things don't go amazingly this season, but the plan from the club is to give him a few windows, I just don't think I don't think he'll be given enough time to actually get to that point. Do you know what I mean?
Oh yeah, no, I agree. Like, we still have players here that was here when Brendan Rodgers was in charge. And so it's a mishmash of Brendan Rodgers, his final January transfer window with Christensen and Suter. You've got Steve Cooper's crap, Enzo, some decent, some terrible. Rude bringing his one player in who's the janitor.
Who's that?
I think his name was Koulibaly or something like that.
Never heard of him.
Well, I think he haunts the training ground now, by the looks of it. He appears. They wheel him out for photos for Birch, and that's about it. So, look, you've got to give this manager time. But I agree. I think if we don't go up this season, or we are languishing in 16th place come December, January time, the club will get rid, because that's the easiest thing to do, isn't it? Rather than being like, okay, no, we forget the players. We're going to give the manager 2 or 3 years to see where we are. Get us back into a good cycle where we've got a fan base on side that are watching decent football. We've got some young players in the club. We've got players that want to be here, they'll go, shit, the fans aren't happy. They're shouting at us for some reason. We haven't done anything wrong. It must be the manager. And off he goes. And I made a prediction, which I don't know if I like saying out loud, but I'm going to do it anyway. Graham Potter is not doing well at West Ham. We know how much Leicester City love Graham Potter. If come next summer, he's sacked at West Ham and Leicester come in and say, look, you're not going to get a Premier League job. Come and rebuild your career at Leicester. It will probably happen. And I hate it. I really do. But that's the Leicester City way. And there's nobody out there that can't say, I can't see that happening, because that's just how it is.
I know exactly what to do here to shut down that theory, that prediction, and it's by bringing this person in. There you go.
Oh, there I am. Hello.
Hello.
Can't bring Graham Potter in. Once, twice, 3 times a lady. We've had some near misses, but we've had near misses with Russell Martin as well. Just have a look at how these near misses are doing. And then when their name comes back in the frame, don't convince yourself they were good options. They're getting their opportunities right now. Look what they're doing. Stinking the place out. Look at Russell Martin. He's going to be sacked after about 5 games or whatever it is. Look at Graham Potter. With 4 games into the season, they have had enough of him already. Absolutely happy to let them go. It's the managerial merry-go-round. How do you break free? You break free by thinking out of the box. That's how Brentford broke free with Thomas Frank, Iraola. You've got to break free by thinking next step, not like everybody else thinks.
I agree, but you have to remember, this is Leicester City, and Top has a hard-on for Graham Potter, and he always has done.
That hard-on needs to soften quickly.
Yeah, he needs to look at some photos of Steve Cooper, I think, to calm himself down. No, go on, Manny. I mean, talk to me, mate, because you were very positive for the majority of the window about we're going to bring players in. It's fine, whatever. We've now 4 or 5 days away from the window shutting. Are you starting to get a little bit nervous?
Hell yeah, very nervous. When I were last, we spoke about this topic, you and I. It was probably about 5 days ago. I thought we've got a full week here. There'll be lots of going on. You're not going to leave it till the last minute, because the last minute you're likely to make a panicked rush decision. Obviously, the caveat is the Bilal situation. We thought we'd have, everybody assumes now that we're in the PSR clear, that means we're okay to spend. No, if we spend, then we're back in PSR problem. Yep. If we actually want to spend, we've still got to basically sell Bilal.
Victor's going to go apparently for around 10 million.
Get it over and done with. If that fast is going to go, get it over and done with. We've still got 3 days to make things happen. But I'm stunned that we haven't tried to grab somebody on loan. Surely loan players would have been done by now. And it's more the volume. I think everybody thinks, 1 or 2 players is not going to be enough here. We ideally want 4, maybe 5.
Whoa! Hold your horses.
I said ideally.
I know.
In an ideal world, you can say, okay, and ideally we'd get 4 or 5. It's not an ideal world. We'll take 2, maybe 3. But 0 or 1 is going to be, if that's going to be the case, and Marty kind of hinted at it in his press conference, didn't he, that I'm going to have to look at the kids, which is, I'm going to take the other view, that we've been speaking about the kids for 6 months. Okay, this is the opportunity. If they don't take us if they're not good enough with the rest of what we've got left to take us to the playoffs, then I believe that is an investment in the following season. And ideally, these kids, you don't want to put too much pressure on them and too much reliance on them. Sure, it's good to give them game time, but not 46 games. No, they can't handle that workload. So we definitely need to get at least a couple of bodies in just to help these guys with workload. And a bit more than that, if Bilal's going to stay, then it's different. Marty will have to do is, the arm round, bit of confidence, don't worry, you've got AFCON coming up, you've got World Cup coming up, you need to get ready, you need to get your head straight, get motivated. Great, we've got enough just about. But the striker situation, I know Marty addressed it directly, and I'm sure you guys have already, but the striker situation is worrying. We've got 1 frontline striker. Marty said it himself that RU's a 9.5. We've got 1, and the 1's rubbish. On an ideal, I think last time we had 4. We had Iheanacho, Cannon, Vardy and Daka. So we had 4 last time. Now we've got 1 who's rubbish. It's all good and well and having the creativity in midfield with Bilal, Monga, Fatawu, Mavadidi. But who's going to be on the end of this stuff?
Well, talking of a striker, we're talking of, actually, before I read that out, I've got our sound effect for our deadline day stream. at the ready, which we played a lot of times on the deadline day stream, and it goes a little bit like this.
You stupid bitch! Wake up!
Yeah, that's how I'm feeling right now. But no, Marty Cifuentes was asked about whether we needed to bring in a striker. He acknowledged the fact that the only typical striker at the club is Patson Daka, while referring to Jordan Ayew as a 9.5. Would you call him a 9.5, Steve? What, giving him a 5 or a 4?
I'm giving him a 4 at the moment, to be honest.
9.5 weeks for you older viewers. 9.5 weeks for Jordan Ayew. Check that reference out, younger lads.
So he said all the fans in the world will always ask for another striker. It's always the same, a striker that can score 35 goals a season. The reality is the market isn't easy. They are expensive. This is the first bozo thing I've seen Marty say. We're not asking for a 35 goal a season striker, Marty. We're asking for a 10 goal a season striker. That we'll be happy with that, which is why we were happy. Well, which is why. Well, this is exactly why we were happy to take a £3 million League One striker in Richard Kone.
I'm hearing you. I knew that the Hulk Hogan, Richard Kone ear was coming. Here it is. Come on, Locks, give it to him. Richard Kone. How much was he again?
Let me tell you something, brother.
So how much was Richard Kone again?
3 million fucking squid.
Okay, that's hardly something that's costing the earth, is it?
Well,
how old is he again?
21. 22
so
maybe now.
If he fails, a standard rule, young player that fails, you should get half your money back. So you're actually not even risking what the whole package was like, 5 million. You're not even risking 5 million. With the add-ons, if the add-ons don't get there, it's a £4 billion deal that it's going to cost you 2 million quid if it goes wrong. And if it goes right, then you've got yourself a striker who can bang in 20 in the Championship, theoretically, and then the player's worth 25 million.
So try not to. Try not to have an outburst here, Manny, when I say this. So I'm going to come to Steve first, which is why, Steve, I said that if it got to 4:00 on Monday afternoon on deadline day, and we suddenly heard that Patrick Bamford was on his way through the doors, I wouldn't be heartbroken. I wouldn't be angry, because at this point, I just want a striker. Just give me a striker. Because at the moment, it seems like we're getting no one in, and we're literally relying on Patson Daka and Jordan Ayew.
Yeah, but you said a 10-goal striker would be quite nice. I don't think Patrick Bamford gets 10 goals in this team.
Well, I'd take a 5 at this point.
I don't even think he gets 5. I think...
True.
I'm on the unders for 5. If that's the line, I'm taking unders. If he's fit for 5 games, that would be a start. That would be a good thing. Right, so let's take that. 5 games he might play. Patrick Bamford, what planet are people on? You know, it's literally, it's the same thing I just said about managers. It's lazy, it's sloppy work. It's just names that you know. It's names that you know. Names are out there, names you've heard of. You know, Dominic Calvert-Lewin, he's on a free. Let's get him, Leeds.
He's just been released, by the way. He's just been released by Leeds.
He's been released because he's rubbish. And because he has a name, he is going to charge you, he's not daft. Him and his agent will say, you're getting me on a free, I'm worth X million, I want some million in signing on fee, and I want this level of wages. Does that package get you performance? No. Another one, avoid old, slow, released rubbish. Have we not learnt from Cody? Have we not learnt from Winks? Have we not learnt from Cordova Reed? Have we not learnt from Ayew? Have we not learnt from Vestergaard? Have we not learnt from God knows how many others? Same with Brownhill. I'm sorry, you Brownhill lovers. It's the same thing. You have to start somewhere, a line in the sand, and say no more of these short-term thinking signings. And if we have to suck it up for a few years, I'm prepared to do that. But no more of this yo-yoing. You yo-yo with these oldies. These oldies are not good enough. They're good enough,
go on, Steve.
Maybe for the Championship, but not for the Prem. So we end up back in the Championship in a couple of years.
Yeah, I agree with what Manny said, because we also had people saying that we should go out and sign Danny Ings before he went to Sheffield. Somebody that would never have, it's just as bad. And, we offer big wages to these players that we can't shift in 2 or 3 years' time. You look at Vestergaard, he's still got a year and a half left on his deal. Well, a year after the season, so he's on. So we're going to be stuck with him next year. An older player, getting older and older. You've got Cordova Reed that is here for another year after this season. At least Ayew leaves come the end of the season, which is great. But yeah, you need. I said that there should be an age limit you go to, and that's it. You stick to that limit of maybe sort of 28 at most. That's just turned 28, not even 28 that's going to turn 29 this season. At least then if you give them a 2 or 3 year deal, early 30s, great, get them gone, fine. But you shouldn't be offering players like Bamford, Danny Ings, Alcacer, who got somebody mentioned a few weeks ago. These players that are old, that want loads of money, that will just stink out the place. And if they don't get picked because they're shit, they're going to bring the negative attitude again to the squad, and we don't need it. Focus on the younger lads. And if you can't afford to spend £2 or £3 million, then don't spend £2 or £3 million. Just suck it up, get through to January, and see where we are from there.
Ask yourself over the last 12 months. Think of it of like performance per pound, right? Performance per pound basis. And if you did a table for the best players that we had and then correlated their wage, combine it, you'll see that the older players are the higher paid players and the worst performing players. Mm-hmm. From last year, from Bilal to this season, to Monga or Fatawu in previous years, it's the younger guys who are on the lower wages, who are hungry, determined to prove themselves, who are the ones who are actually performing on the pitch. Mm-hmm. The ones that are bringing you down are the ones that you're giving the most money to. It's natural. As you get older, you lose speed, you lose fast twitch, you lose reaction time. You're not as hungry to prove yourself because you're on your final contract, you're on your payday. You're not desperate to show everybody how good you are and earn the payday, right? You've already got your money. Like Brownhill now, he's looking about Saudi. His motivation is not, I want to maximise my football career and play in the Premier League. Otherwise, he would have stayed in Burnley. He's happy to go to Saudi or happy to go to somewhere like Conor Cody, happy to drop into the Championship, or Harry Winks, because they are after to maximise the pound note. Their mentality is about getting the best deal for them. What we don't want is that. What we want as a mentality is the players like, I don't care whether you pay me 10 grand a week or you pay me 100 grand a week. I want to show you how good I am, like Fatawu. Do you think Fatawu plays any different if he was on 20 grand a week or 200 grand a week? No, it doesn't matter to him. He's got the right mentality and he's at the right stage of his career that he wants to show how good he is. So
what about Bilal?
Bilal's the same. Have you ever seen Bilal last season or up until the very last game show a bad attitude on the pitch? What's his work rate like? What's his work rate in the last minute like? Even when we're losing, is he still trying? Yes. His work rate, his determination is always there to be seen. That's why I don't want to burn bridges with him, by the way, in the short term. But it's the younger players. It's a mental dynamic. Think about it. You're young, you're energetic, you want to make a name for yourself, you want more Instagram followers, you want more cash, you want more girls, you want a better club, you want a bigger contract. There's all the reasons are in front of you. When you're in the back end of your career, everything is behind you. You're already looking at the end. You're thinking about, what am I going to do after football? What am I going to do with my time afterwards? I've got a few, I've been carrying injuries for years. What am I going to do about this? What am I going to do about that? The experience factor, I repeat, overrated. Did anyone see Max Dowman? Did anybody see, these young players coming on? Jeremy Monga for us this season. 16 is the new 24. I would argue.
I agree with you on the Bamford and Ings and Vestergaard and Ayew and Reed, but I still think you're being incredibly harsh on Josh Brownhill. Incredibly harsh.
It's not about him.
You're talking about performance. You're talking about performance per pound. He scored 18 goals in the Championship last season,
a one-off season. A one-off. How did he do in the previous seasons in the Championship? You can't base it on...
No.
I think it was 7.
He didn't score that...
7 in the year before.
Yeah. But he didn't score that many goals. No, but he's not a striker, Manny. He's a midfielder.
But your whole point is you're basing it on
how many goals did Bilal score last season?
You're not listening. You're basing it on short-term season performance. So what if that was I could make a serious case that was a flash season for Brownhill based on he's had 10 other seasons and he's never performed anywhere near those levels. And I've already made the case to you that when you're in the last year of your contract, it's very much in your interest to play the hell. We saw it with Ozil. We saw it with Aubameyang. We saw it with Rashford. We see that with so many players, the last year of their contract, they want to earn that big deal.
But they offered him a contract.
Yeah, and why did he turn it? So why did he turn it down then at Burnley in the Premier League?
Because his game time wasn't going to be as high. His game time wasn't going to be as much.
You just tell me he was a star for them in the Championship, and now you're telling me the Burnley are going to drop him from the team.
He scored 18 goals. He scored 18 goals. He scored 18 goals in the Championship. And I'm not saying...
And did Burnley offer him a contract?
You're saying... No, but yes, they offered him a contract.
So why did he choose Leicester? Why would he choose Leicester over Burnley?
Manny, what I'm saying... No, but he hasn't chosen Leicester, has he?
Well, in theory, why would he?
What I'm saying to you, you're saying that it's just a one-off season. It's not a one-off season. The one-off season is that he scored 18 goals. Of course, that's a one-off. But he's always been a good player in the Championship. Always. That's not a one-off. He's always
and
a
again,
great.
I read this in the chat. I am not trying to sign a Championship players and build a Championship team. I'm trying to sign players that will use the Championship as training ground for the Premier League. That's your objectives, and those are the fans who say that. That's not my objective, is to stay in this league. I'm trying to get out of this league, and I don't want to be back. It's not just about getting promoted. It's about getting promoted and staying up. You forget the second part of the equation. It's not just about one season. We signed Brownhill. It's not a one-year contract. It's a 3-year deal on a lot of money. We sign him. Yes, he'll have a good season because he's a good, solid player. I'm not doubting that. We go up. The Premier League, not good enough. We go straight back down. We've had Brownhill again. He's got 1 year left. He's on massive wages. And here we are, deja vu. The whole circle is complete, and we are back where we started.
So you want to sign Premier League players?
No. What I want to sign is potential Premier League players. Look what Sunderland have done. Have you heard of Mayenda or any of these other guys? Have you seen their summer signings? They're young, they're energetic, they're on relatively lower wages. And if some of them work out, they're going to get massive transfer fees. How much transfer fees could we get for Brownhill in a year or two? Zero. That's
Profit.
It's not profit. It's not profit. It's not profit when you've paid him massive wages. By the way, 60 grand a week is £3 million a year. So if you have him for 2 seasons, that's 6 million quid. Do you think you'd get 6 million quid for him in a couple of years? No chance.
Saudi.
No chance.
I will say that I would rather have a player that uses this club as a stepping stone than a stopgap. I'd rather a player that joins our club and thinks, okay, if I play well enough, I'm going to progress to another club, rather than if I sign for Leicester because I'm 30 years old, this might be my last chance of a contract. I'm going to stink it out for 3 years, and then 3 years comes and they fuck up.
Oh, Steve, let me ask you the question. You put yourself in Josh Brownhill's position, right? And you've been at Burnley for years. You've lived there. Your kids go to school there. They've got friends there. Your wife's got friends there. You've got your teammates. Everything is settled, right? You've been there for many, many years. Why would you, and you've worked hard and you've done your bit to get them promoted. Why do you leave that promoted team to drop down a division?
Well, you think you're going to get more money. That's the only reason.
That's it.
The only reason.
Or game
time. Into Saudi Arabia as well.
Money. So
Or
if your
game time.
motivation
Or game
is
time.
money, that is not the kind of attitude that we are looking for in our rebuild. Okay?
It's all game time.
Forget the
You can't-
forget the player. The attitude is wrong. The attitude is wrong. And this is how you end up with Vestergaard on strike or Winks refusing to move near the ground. You're at a stage of your career where you don't give up. You know what's it. You know, you're at the latter stage of your career. You're going to do what's comfortable for you and your family at that stage, most likely. It's the wrong profile.
It's you don't know that the only reason that a player drops to the Championship is for the money. You don't know
What else
that.
is it then?
For more game time.
Oh,
what
yeah.
are you getting about that?
So Burnley offered him 60 grand a week to have him sit on the bench, having scored 18 goals for him. Come on. He was the star player in the Championship. They're
He's
not
a
making a
captain.
case.
He was a captain.
But you're telling me the captain's not going to get game time for them and they're offering him a new contract. I don't believe that.
Yeah, they probably want to make Connor Cody was captain for Wolves.
Look, either they want to play him because they like him, or if you're correct and they want to get rid of him, it's because they think he's not good enough, having seen him close up for 8 years. And Burnley are in a relegation battle.
In the Premier League.
Okay, so either they're deciding that Brownhill's not good enough for them, in the Premier League. But
Yeah, and we're not in the Premier League.
Okay, today. But you stop thinking about today and stop planning for tomorrow.
With zero midfield signings, do you think we're going to get promoted?
Playoffs, but it would be tight.
So this is what I'm saying. So we need a midfielder.
I agree. I'd never said we don't need a midfielder. When did I say that?
No, I'm not saying
fact,
you did.
We need two. I think we need two.
But what I'm trying to say, Manny, is that you said you want somebody who will be good enough in the Premier League, which Brownhill isn't. But you've then also said without a midfielder, we won't get promoted to the Premier League.
We've already got that profile. We've got Winks. He's a 30-year-old, been round the block many a time. Now, what do you want to do? Add another one to it. This is you're compounding the problem. You're increasing the average age when we're trying to reduce it. How is that investing in the future? That's short-term thinking. You're thinking about this season and this season alone. That is not the way. Okay, well then, welcome to the world of teams like Man United. You don't plan a long-term. You just think, oh, we need to buy something. Here's some money. Let's go and grab somebody. There's no thought process about how these players will combine into a unit, how it works with our business plan, and how it helps the club progress long term moving forward. You're only thinking about 1 year. You're not thinking 3, 5, 10.
You also have to remember
Yeah.
as well that we spent £25 million on Oliver Skip, which is
Yep.
crazy in hindsight, but that's an asset for the club that want to see a potential return. So why would you bring in a player that's going to be earning a lot more than Oliver Skip is on a free transfer when you spent £25 million on this midfield that realistically they want to play and improve?
Because you admit to yourself that you're not making a return on Oliver Skip because it's quite
then
blatantly obvious
But
that's not going to fucking
It might be,
happen.
but he's here for 4 more years. So, unless you sell him and book a profit, which is highly unlikely, you've got to
Yep.
keep him at the club and play him. And we know Samara leaves next summer. I guess the other way of saying it is that would you replace Samara with Brownhill and still have Samara at the club? Because I
You're
will.
asking me?
Whoever.
Well,
I
Samari's
think
got a
Brown-
year left. If you can sell Samari, you do it. If you can sell Samari and replace, you would do it. Of
And
course
if you
would.
could look, if Brownhill's available on a 1-year contract, even at the wages he's asking for, I'll take him. As long as it's a
Thank
1-year
you.
deal. One-year
Thank you.
deal. But it's a 1-year deal then. But
No,
he's
but
not.
this is-
But he's asking for a 3-year deal. That's
You
the
don't know
problem.
that. You don't know
that's what he
that.
was on-
No, you don't.
Yeah.
Did he
I
tell
thought it
you?
was-
Did he tell
no,
you?
No, but I mean, we read the
So,
reports.
so a
he was-
happy medium there is a 2-year deal with the club's option as a third, right? That's the happy medium in that position.
The other factor is it's not just Brownhill. It's the fact that you're now blocking someone else's development.
Exactly.
You're blocking another player that could have come through. Instead of Brownhill, we could find a 22-year-old super talent who's a bit raw, rough around the edges, needs 40 games to build that confidence and understanding of English football, and then come the Premier League, theoretically, that diamond is shining even brighter, and Brownhill's was never an option. That's the route I would go down. It's resale value, it's an investment in future. Is people are acting like 22-year-old kids can't play football like a 30-year-old can. What planet are you on? Everywhere I look, kids are making headlines everywhere. The young players everywhere in most teams out there, the young players are the best players in that team. The old guy, I keep telling everyone, the game has moved on really quickly in the last 3 years. It's faster than ever. It's so quick. If you have any slow coaches anywhere in your unit, you're going to get found out.
So have you looked at, in your scouting report, Manny, have you looked at Jaden Heskey? I mentioned him previously.
Years ago when he was Man City youth, wasn't he?
He's still
And
there.
he's got a younger brother as well, hasn't he?
Yeah, he has, yeah.
There's 2 of them.
Yeah.
It was about a couple of years ago. I heard both of them were very talented, but I've not seen anything of them. But I love the idea. I grew up. I used to play football very briefly with Emil for a couple of months. Him and I used to go to the pub afterwards and talk fantasy football. What an unbelievable mentality, desire to prove himself. Like you boys said, an absolute physical monster. But people forget, before he developed into a physical monster, when he was from the age of, say, 15 to about 23, he was rapid, it's really quick. So if he's got any of his dad's genes, they're definitely worth a look. And obviously with the Leicester connection, I love those kind of looks. So if he's available, let's have a look at him.
Sorry, somebody in the chat said they could hear Bilal in the background, so I thought I'd play
He's
that.
in prison. Look, he's in prison still.
Yeah.
In prison.
Free Bilal. Yeah, I mean, there was a comment here, headlines for the wrong reasons in the case of Bilal. Strategy is most likely rebuild the season with hope that we get the playoffs.
Or his asset stripping.
Yeah, all that, which I would lean more towards, to be honest. But there was this was the, again, I'll just bring it up. We've already brought it up, but I'll bring it up again. That was the last comment there from Marty on the transfer window. He said the fans can be calm, despite it being just a few days. I'm sure they will see the work behind the scenes at the end of the window.
I mean, that sounds like, that's an excuse saying, look, you can see that we tried, but we never got anything over the line. This is like January, we're being linked with names. Well, we're looking at this player. We're in discussions with that player. Nothing materialises of these discussions. This is starting to look like, just stuff put out there to appease the fans so that we short-term get, we're looking at him. We tried to get him. Like Marty said, there wasn't the quality available. Now, we disagree with that fundamentally. We think there's lots of quality at cheap prices. And I'll repeat his name again because I still want to sign him. Small. What was his first name? Thierry Small.
Very small.
On a free transfer from Charlton, he was available. If you have a scouting network that has their ears and eyes everywhere, you would have seen that. And he's cheap as hell. I bet you they're not even paying him 10 grand a week. 21 years old, left back monster in an area that we could do improvement in. lots of clubs, not just us, have missed one there, and I bet you he's not the only one. You're just not looking. That's the problem. You're not looking. You're not looking hard enough.
We've been linked with Josh Murphy today.
A 30-year-old midfielder from Portsmouth. Great.
Merry-go-round player. No.
Yeah. It's kind of crazy.
The club are very lucky in the sense that they have the game tomorrow, and then there's an international break coming up. So the anger that if we don't sign anybody by Monday night, the anger the fans are going to have will then have dissipated, by the time the new game comes around.
At least last year we had Facundo on loan. The time before we had Abdul on loan. At least get a kid in on loan that we can, pretend that you might have some talent. We were really excited with Royo, the guy who doesn't exist. We were like, at least we got someone. The squad needs just a new face. The fans need a new face. Ideally, we need a good face. If we are going to sell Victor, I think this one's a key one. If you sell Victor, I can't see a reason why you wouldn't invest at least half of the Victor money back in the squad, at least. If that means using that fee to pay a couple of loan fees and salaries, and so be it. But we need at least two bodies. Definitely midfield and striker are urgent.
Well, you say you don't know why we wouldn't sign anybody if Victor goes, but as Marty said, I'm always one that will try to solve the problem, not only from the academy, but also players from the club. After that, then we may look into the market to find players. If they can't if they can't improve us, then there isn't any point. But we all know there's players out there that will improve us. I mean, we were just saying, Manny, again, I know you'll disagree with this one, because you'll probably disagree to signing him. I don't think any of us wanted us to sign him, but he improves our midfield. Free agent Nampalys Mendy. Our midfield is better with Mendy over Skip.
You are joking.
Would you rather Mendy or Skip right now, Manny?
That's too tight a call. I rate
well,
them,
the fact one was 3 and one was 20 million.
I rate them both horrific. With somewhere horrific to worse.
I think that's harsh on Mendy.
Another one of these fans that they said Mendy was good player. Mendy was one of the worst players I've seen at Leicester. Absolutely a terrible player. I don't know what he did. He just sort of stood there in the middle, not doing a lot.
I prefer him to Skip. I
mean, literally, you can imagine it. Like, we've just lost Kante. Can somebody find me a small French defensive midfielder, please? Anyone got one? Oh, here's one. Nah, he's not small enough. Can we find someone? No, Mendy's about 5'0". Yeah, let's get him.
And then they went down, and then 6 months later they brought in Wilf 6 months later.
The worst was with my mates. I was celebrating when he left the club, and then we re-signed him. I was like, oh my god, you're joking.
Yeah, I swear when we re-signed him, and then he didn't play for 6 months because we didn't register him or something like that.
But if Watford have signed him, there is a player I half like at Watford. I think he's in the last year of his contract. He's a bit out of my usual age range. I think he's 26. Tom Deli Bashiru. He came from Man City youth. I think they got him on a free from Man City. He was released by Man City. But I've seen him play a few times against us. And a holding midfielder who likes to orchestrate things. So like Winks that can tackle. 1 year left, we're cheap. 26 is probably a bit older than I'd go for. But at this stage, I've spoken to some Watford contacts and say they want him to sign a new contract and he won't. So he's looking for a better opportunity than Watford. There's someone you might look at.
I find it, no offence, Manny, you're off your fucking rocker, mate, because you've just been ranting about needing players who have the potential to play in the Premier League.
I agree, but they're not. But we've said they're not looking at it. It's not the kind of signing that you're going to get done finding some kid from abroad with 3 days to go. You need to do visas. You need to do, all kinds of. There's more paperwork. There's more stuff to get done. There's third parties who maybe don't work as quickly. It's going to be easier to get a deal done within England, isn't it? When they're just
which is why you bring in Brownhill on a 1 year deal.
That's not the one. That's not the one. That's not the one. Like, if Brownhill wants to come 1 year contract and wants to take 30 grand a week, I'll take that.
Well, that
but he wants twice the money
taking
and
30.
Exactly.
You don't know he wants 3 years. Stop saying that. You don't know that's the case.
Hey, who goes on a free transfer at 29 years old and asks for a 1 or 2 year contract? Tell me.
Well, we're not saying who asks it. We're saying what he's willing to take. It's what he's willing to take, isn't it?
Exactly. He's holding off. If he wanted to come to, someone said it in the chat, if he wanted to come to Leicester and he believed in the project and thought Leicester, Marty, Seagrave, good bunch of lads, I'd like to go there, he would have signed a month ago. He's holding off to the very end to see. And also, he doesn't need to wait until the transfer window closes because he's a free transfer. He's holding off for the guy who comes up with the biggest number, and for that reason alone, I would avoid.
You know where I think he's going to end up? I reckon he's going to end up back at Burnley. That's where I reckon he's going to end up back there.
If he does, he should be embarrassed. He should have.
He should have signed
that contract straight away. It's an insult to end up back there. Mind you could argue that Ndidi did the same. Wanted to see what his options were, and then ended up back with us, and we welcomed him back. So, yeah, maybe.
Right, answer me this, Steve, before we finish. With a few days left to go, what is the number one priority? Is it a midfielder or is it a striker?
Striker. It's clearly a striker because the issue with Ayew is that he drops too far into the attacking midfield role. That means we don't have a pivotal figure at the top of the pitch. When you put the ball in the box, you need somebody to be there. If you're going to play the ball through, you need somebody to run onto it. I think we can limp by with the midfield that we've got because there is an individual quality there that it's fine. Like, it's better than quite a lot of teams in this league. But if you don't have a striker that can score, then we're going to be nowhere.
Yeah, what about you, Manny? I think you think midfielder, right?
If we sell Bilal, we definitely need a midfielder.
Yes.
If we don't sell Bilal, then we can survive just about. We can scrape through. I'm a big fan of Lewis Page, as you know. I actually think he was better than people thought against Charlton. It's a tricky place to go. I like that kid, so I don't want to sign someone to obstruct him necessarily. I actually think we need a right 8 so that we can go back to Enzo way, which is what will be the most compatible with our players left. We've got a left 8 and Lewis Page. We need a right 8. I don't think Booba can do that job. I don't think Winks can do that job. And Skips can't do any job. So we need a right 8. But if we've got Bilal, he can play there. And then obviously, like you boys have said it, everybody knows out there. Ideally, we need 2 strikers. You don't just need a striker. We don't want Daka to come off the bench for 20 minutes because he's not going to score. He comes on for 20 minutes, he never scores. It's not going to happen. So we need a starter, and we need a game changer. Ideally, the game changer is the kind of young kid, and we need somebody who's not proven, but between 20 to 24, you can't have a starting striker who's 16. No, you can't do that.
I think priority's got to be a goalkeeper. I think we need another one, to be fair. I think
Jacobs rock. Jacobs, so... It was a man of the match, wasn't he, the other day?
You think I'm being fucking serious? Do you think I'm being fucking serious? For fuck's sake.
With you, I never know.
Fucking goalkeeper, mate. I'll be fucking... Oh, don't get me started if we sign a goalkeeper.
You tell me Skip was a good signing once.
Hey.
Low blow, sorry.
Hey. You said Samara was going to go for 50 million.
No, I said if you played at peak, and I didn't say 50-40.
I've dropped... Yay! 40, there we go. We got an admission. Right.
Anyway...
We've
got time, right? When does this window close? What is it? Is it September the 1st?
7 p.m. on Monday.
7 p.m. Monday.
September the 1st, right?
Yeah.
Why is it 7 p.m. and not 11?
International football.
Okay, so we're playing Friday. That might be an advantage in that we can get the game out of the way and we can really, really work our nuts off come Saturday morning. But to leave this to Saturday, Sunday and to the very last day is... dare I say, irresponsible?
Yep.
Manny is very close to finally being Rudkin out after all this time.
No. It's this just on that one note, since you brought it up. I compartmentalise the 2 different things: outgoings and incomings. Outgoings, 9 out of 10. I mean, some brilliant sales, some amazing prices. I still think the Mads was... I know he's had a stinking start, but I still think Mads is a brilliant keeper and will prove so in the years to come. Every other sale has been brilliant. Maybe could have got another 1 million or 2 for Ndidi, but we definitely pumped them for Casey. I mean, that was a ridiculous
and
price.
JJ, 8 to 10.
And JJ, and Victor, and even Cody for 2.5 million. Honestly, I would have let him go for 0, just to get the wages off the books. So, Mr. Rudkin, actually, you're not going to like this. He's on the outgoings, brilliant job, excellent job. The problem is, we need some bloody incomings too.
Well, Manny, me and Steve were talking about this, but he's just done his job with the outgoings. Yeah. He's done his job.
With the fees, you could argue he's done a good job, right? Because the fees are probably 10, 20, 30% higher than any of us would have realistically expected. Consistently, it's not just like one player. He's done a deal with 30% over what we thought we could get 2 or 3 times for players that we don't particularly rate. And you have to say that's a good job. Credit where credit's due, be fair now.
Well, no, it's fair, but I would say congratulations on 1 out of 6 windows being a good one. So yeah, well done, John.
I'm
well
clearly
done,
going to be celebrating with a Rudkin shirt. All right, so everyone just enjoy that.
Yeah, for anybody who doesn't know, Steve did the tweet. If I get 1,000 likes, I will be getting Rodkin 1 printed on my shirt,
Which is bullshit, by the way, because I thought 500 was a push. 1,000, no chance. 2 days later, and I'm like, fucking hell,
mate, you're going to be like the main pimp in town because Rudkin is a prime panty puller. This guy, he's a new player around town. Forget Levy. This guy will pull your pants down in negotiation. The new improved JR. Must be watching some JR Ewing from Dallas or something.
If this video gets 10,000 likes, I will get a Skip shirt like Jack and shave a bald spot on the back of my head.
Skip tattoo on your
I will
arm.
get 10,000 likes. I will get the Skip haircut. I will shave here, and I will get a
just
shirt.
get the number tattooed on your back. Easier that way.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's true. But yeah, I shouldn't have said that now because Phil from Leicester Fan TV is probably going to buy likes for the video. Anyway, he's used to that. Right, we're going to end it there. So just a quick one. So we will be live on transfer deadline day from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. For the live stream. Tomorrow night, we'll be live for the watch-along, Leicester versus Birmingham. We'll be live from 7:45 ahead of an 8 o'clock kickoff. We'll have the instant reaction as well after that. And then we'll also be live on Saturday late morning for the another rival watch, Middlesbrough versus Sheffield United. So I'll be live for that one as well on Saturday. But the main one, of course, is tomorrow from 7:45, Leicester Birmingham. You got something coming up tonight, haven't you, Steve? Let people know where they can watch.
Yep. I'm going to be on the final whistle. We're going to be talking to a couple of Birmingham fans in regards to the game tomorrow, and basically telling them how we're going to get beaten. So, forward to that one.
Give them some shit because they think they thought they
I
could
will.
Fatawu this window.
Yeah,
Don't let them talk shit, mate.
Birmingham is like the accent. The Birmingham accent is the worst accent in the UK. So I'm not going to lie.
I disagree. I think Bristol's worse. The Bristolian, that's the worst.
Give us a bit of Bristolian, lads.
I can't do it.
You're from around that way. You're virtually a Bristolian.
I can't even do a Welsh accent, mate. I can't even do a Welsh accent.
You can't do a Welsh accent. Shame on you. Come on, give us
I
a bit.
used to have a Welsh accent, but I just don't anymore.
Well,
and I can't
try.
fake
Give
it.
us a bit of
I can't
Daffyd
fake
from the
it.
village. Go on, Daffyd.
I can't fake it. I'm the only gay in the village from Little Britain. I love that. I used to love that program. Anyway, we're going to end it there. Thanks to everybody for joining. Make sure to hit the like button. Make sure to hit subscribe. We will see you, like I said, tomorrow at 7 p.m. And don't forget. Oh wait, is that Bilal? Yeah, it's Bilal.
Free Bilal.
I'll get the snake one out for tomorrow. Right. See you all soon. Take care. Bye bye. Massive thank you to today's sponsor, Match Bingo. Over 200 grand has been paid out to players so far by taking sports betting, football and bingo and combining them into one amazing app. Make sure to get your bingo card for any Leicester City game in the upcoming season. Click that link in the description or via the QR code on screen.